Good morning and welcome back, everyone. I want to do a price update because I know there's a lot of noise about Bitcoin potentially going to anywhere from 28 to around 33,000, and this can potentially trigger a run in a lot of the crypto assets, specifically the top 10. Are we on the verge of having an breakout and potentially seeing the next leg up in the crypto cycle? I know there's still a lot of news out there about bearishness, and that's pretty much going to remain unconfirmed. Well, not really, but until mid next month, we kind of know what to expect. And I think markets are kind of pricing that in. But overall, we need to talk about, are we on the position here to have the next leg up? And actually, if you look at the charts here, it's actually not a difficult thing to put into perspective, because especially if you follow the channel, we've been talking about this crucial 25K line here for Bitcoin and how important it is. We've seen a lot of times people take profits around here. We've seen the rejections here. This is very crucial for our next leg up, because if you look, when we were charting on the way down, this was one of the consolidation points that we built up. We've retested this line many times, even 3 times, 4 times in recent times here. And then over here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7 tries here to break above it back in July of last year. And then, of course, we got rejected and then went lower. And then now we're back here again, and we're consistently bumping our heads on here. But I want to say that 28 to 33 range is not, it's not crazy. These gaps that you fill, because even if you look here, if you zoom in, if I zoom in, let me just do it this way. I want to put this into perspective. Whoop. Forgive me for not knowing how to run my chart here. I think my mic's annoying. Okay. Jesus, what's going on? Okay. There we go. Okay, much better. Okay, so if we take a look here and we zoom in, we'll see that this was one of the things that we were anticipating what's going to happen. We're going to fill this gap. And if I'm talking about this gap here, the previous test, and this one here, and we did get that gap filled. Now, Bitcoin fills these gaps. It's over 60% of the time these gaps typically get filled in Bitcoin. You can see another example right here on the way down, boom, and filled it right back up. So, you create this little bowl here. This is only at the extreme lows, but you guys get the point. You can kind of see those gaps getting filled. And if you take a look here on the macros, you'll see that we had these consolidation, we had this breakdown, consolidation, boom, consolidation, kind of building up like some support here. This is going to be the levels that we have to pay attention to on the way back up, which is why I prefer to have some of these points versus just these straight lines to the moon, because that's exactly how you get coins cut in half in like a week when you have those rocket ships. But this is pretty much what we're looking at on the way back up. And this is kind of like the journey back to around 48,000. But typically this line, this gap here can get filled if we break this with momentum, because right now we're still bumping our heads here. I'll zoom back in a moment. I know it's maybe a little hard to see, but this here will put us roughly at around, I'll say anywhere from high 20s, I'll say 29 to 33, depending on where the liquidity runs out. So this is going to be, it's going to be a really big deal going forward, as far as for the indication of the state of the market that we're in right now. So don't rule that out. I know sometimes people are going to use this to kind of peddle hopium and stuff like that, but it's not a crazy assumption for us to fill this and have a run toward 30. Now the question is, what does that do for the entire crypto market? And we know that some of these coins are in different places. Ethereum is in a much different place compared to that, but typically they kind of chart and mirror each other. And what I mean by Ethereum, you can see similar here. We have this gap filled. We have this sideways trend here. We're kind of retesting for Ethereum. The 25K is like the 1750 mark, roughly 1770. And that's going to kind of be our retest. What I mean by we're in a different place is we came down here, we got the bounce where we desperately need it at around like 14 70 or so. But this here was going to put Ethereum in quite a bit of trouble. Bitcoin has a few levels below it to kind of prevent that massive sell-off at least, but this was going to put Ethereum in quite a bit of trouble. So as long as Ethereum is chugging along up here, building up support, stuff like that, that is absolutely fine. Take a look here at Cardano. Similar, yeah, all trending along. A bit of a gap here and building up support. So yeah, Bitcoin is kind of like that, the one that kicks the door open before all these coins run. And not similar to Ethereum here with this support here, because we could have and got a breakdown, but we did have at least some weak support around 32 before we got into that fall. So Ethereum was the only one that kind of desperately needed to establish to grab some liquidity at that last drop down. So not the end of the world, but very important that we did so. Same thing with Doge, trending sideways here, filled the gap down, bounced off of the previous trend, and trending sideways here. So this is kind of like, this is why I say that's not unreasonable to see that we can potentially want to run here. Just kind of watching Bitcoin to see if that liquidity is going to come in, because the charts have aligned and pretty much positioned themselves with Bitcoin. And we know that when that institutional chat clears and it comes in, you can see some similar price action across the board. So this will put a lot of those coins that in the top 10 at least relatively close to mirroring that trend. And then of course this has the potential to put Doge, I say high nines, back into contest with this previous level here at around like 10 cent, or at least bouncing off of the previous support, which is we're pretty much bouncing between old support and new resistance now, but that would still put Doge slightly over 10 cent. So before we can say, okay, well, this can get contested, depending on how strong the break is. So how strong that break is in Bitcoin can determine if we see something like a 28 or if we see something like a 33. But typically those gaps get filled in Bitcoin pretty religiously. So it's just something that kind of puts you on the horizon. So when you see these headlines and stuff like that, it's not complete hopium. There is some facts behind it. I just kind of have to just put it into perspective here. And don't forget the macros here. I know the market's kind of pricing them in. We're not expecting any type of dovishness from Powell next month. We're expecting to get the full 5.25 that they're talking about. We'll see. They're going to put out their revision of numbers, and maybe they'll shock us and say, because we've seen some articles from economists saying that they kind of expected things to kind of spike in February. So we're going to see if maybe they're saying, hey, we calculated that in, not a big deal. We're going to stick to our guns, and maybe we'll get a shock and see a rally in the market. We'll see. But macros, they're kind of going to price in what we think is going to happen. So we shouldn't see too much of a shock next month, unless it's a good one. If Powell kind of pivots slightly and goes away with a little hawkishness that we kind of are expecting or pricing in, then we can see another rally. But overall, this is kind of like the trend here. This is why I made the video a few days ago saying that is it likely that macros are priced in unless we see some type of huge shock to the market. This is exactly what I was talking about. So we'll see how this plays out. We'll say tomorrow. Well, today is just Tuesday morning. It's around 5 a.m. right now. I'll say, let me go back here. We haven't broken it yet. We've gotten several rejections. I'm going to give you guys kind of like a time frame to kind of look out for. Because we're just starting out with this candle here and it's already forming a rejection. To be on the safe side, I'd say give this a window of about 72 hours. Let's get a few more candles in here to kind of gauge volume and strength, because if we do break before then we'll know, unless we get a bunch of liquidity coming in, we'll just kind of see, because I don't know how strong it'll be to close that. And it didn't do it in like a singular candle here. It wasn't like a strong move like these bigger candles here. The initial one was to around 26, 27, but these were a series of days. So it's not like it just gapped in a day. So we'll have to see how strong this break is here. And if we get that break to around the 26 mid range, then we're in good shape to retest closer to 30. But I'll say give this about 72 hours. So Thursday, and we'll kind of see the strength if we haven't broken before then. A quick side note here is I have launched what I believe to be the best community on the internet. We're going to be covering everything from technical analysis, chart reading, options trading, entry exits, pretty much how to navigate the market, how to go in and make money every day, every week. And we're going to have a community of like minded people, all kinds of hours on tutorials, everything from whiteboards to Discord groups to weekly meetings, courses, all that good stuff we're all going to have inside of this group. And I'm going to be launching it to the public. And I have a link in the description section if you want to get on the waiting list, and you can check that out. And this is going to be invite only for right now, but I have a link in the description section if you want to get more information, and I will send you an email and you'll be on the waiting list and you'll be one of the first people to know when this goes live. So let me know what you guys think as happening on the short-term time frames. Are we on the potential of a run, or is this like a bear market rally here potentially setting up? Are we heading lower? Let me know what you guys' thoughts are. I will look forward to your comments. I'll reply to as many of them as I can. Like the video, share it, subscribe to the channel if you want to hear more, and I will see you in the next video.